There's been a phrase flying around for a long time that I can't stand that goes something like, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. And while that's not the main subject for today, I want to dissect it for a minute to set the tone for today's episode. Phrasing a sentence like, he can't handle me, I'm too much for him, she can't handle my energy, suggests that there's a problem with them, not me. I'm great, everything's wonderful with me, and by the way, no matter how I act, no matter how I behave, no matter how much disrespect, unkindness, craziness, passive-aggressive behavior, insults, whatever lows a person can stoop to. However I behave, if you can't handle me, you don't deserve me. So not only does someone need to live up to a standard of handling any kind of behavior at its worst, but they also don't deserve you if you're not able to endure this torture. And then even the word deserve implies that you have to work for it, or you have to earn it, or that there are hoops that you need to jump through in order to be a worthy partner of me. No one in a relationship should be trying to handle someone who is consciously or unconsciously being terrible to another human being. Now, if someone's having a bad day, you're feeling a little depressed or a little anxious today, of course, by all means, my God, that's what being in partnership is for. But this idea that someone's best is a prize that's dangled in front of you if you earn it, I can't imagine that that's a relationship you'd want to be in. So let's transition into how we think of our partners. Are we annoyed, frustrated, irritated? Do we assume the worst? Do we think that they're always up to no good, or that they don't have good intentions so that they can't win? And I can tell you, I've had many a client sitting on my sofa telling me, he's not going to do that, he's not going to want that, he's not going to like that, here's how he is, that's never going to fly with him, he'll never do it. Even if you've known someone for decades, and you might be absolutely right, it is completely disempowering to talk down to someone and say, they'll never go for this, or I can't trust them to do it. Because men, as a general rule, don't stand up and start shouting at their wives, yes, I can, of course I can, I'll prove it to you. They get quiet. They go inward. They shut down. So if you're thinking to yourself, oh, this guy, he's so annoying. If you're haughty and you have a reaction every time he says something, and you're defensive or aggravated or upset or bothered, or you don't believe it, or you don't trust it, or you doubt it, or you ask for clarification again and again and again, where were you? Really? You went there? Why did you go there? That's so interesting. I just wouldn't have thought that you'd have gone there. I get grossed out in my body, even just speaking like that. If your partner asks you a question, where were you? I was on a walk, I left my phone at home. And then you proceed to systematically continue to question and verify. Right off the bat, you're showing your partner, I don't trust you, I don't believe you, I have doubts. And that same sort of proving yourself and becoming worthy that I was talking about earlier comes into play. Why does that person need to justify to you to satiate your curiosity, which you may then transform into a statement like, I need to feel safe, or I don't know if I can trust you, which is that wording that sounds so much like you're the victim and someone needs to prove themselves to you so that you feel safe. Nothing else matters, that you need to feel that I believe you and I feel safe, and whatever that is. But it never takes into account the other person's experience. It's diminishing, it's disrespectful, it's condescending, it's speaking down to them. And that line of questioning in how you think about them and your natural response in how you speak to them and speak about them is deteriorating your relationship on a daily basis. If we take a snapshot of your life at your absolute worst, that would be a very unfair way to judge you or see you. And if we took a snapshot of you at your absolute best, when you're thriving and people are proud of you and you look phenomenal and feel phenomenal, that also wouldn't be an accurate, full-on representation of who you are. I don't know that we need to say the truth is in the middle and you are an amalgamation of both of these things, but the real you is just right here in the center. It's just that we are human and we vacillate from different sides. We are multifaceted beings. We can be a monster and we can be the most helpful, resourceful person ever. We have it all within us. But many people in relationship like to believe that they know the real version of you. I know how he behaves behind closed doors. I know what she says when no one else is looking or listening. I see the kind of texts and engagement and responses and volatility that you have over here. Everything else is fake and phony, but I know the real you. And making statements like that is very dangerous, even if there are probably many people who are terrible behind closed doors and then fake it to the world. If you're awful when no one's watching, and then the rest of the world sees you and you're great, and you have a lot of nefarious activity and everything is hidden and unspoken, not so great. But as a partner, as a boyfriend or girlfriend, as a husband or wife, to say, well, he hurt me. He made me sad. She said something really awful to me. That's who they really are. That's the real you. When you carry a belief like that, it's going to taint your vision of that person. I don't know what it is where a person can do 1,000,001 good deeds, and the moment they fall off the wagon or don't live up to an expectation or don't buy you the thing that you want or have a bad or poor reaction one day, all of a sudden all this value diminishes and we think that this one little thing is the real you. To add insult to injury, it gets worse. Some people, whether you want to call it energetically, karmically, spiritually, or just bad vibes, are not a good match for one another. You bring out the worst in each other. Now you can call that a learning opportunity or a spiritual revelation. You can do with it whatever you want, but some people are literally like hot oil and water. There's an explosion. I mean, I've seen it where the same person can exchange, I want to say a paragraph or a sentence, even a word, and the other person explodes, hangs up, freaks out. I've seen it where someone can say good morning and the other person is hostile and angry. Hi, it's so nice to hear from you, my love. What kind of crazy nonsense is this? It's not a good match. It's not a vibrational match. And sometimes we'll use things like love, or we'll say, well, I really love this person. I care about them. I know they have the potential to be better. So you stay with them, hoping that that menacing anger and volatility is going to change. I've seen it where someone doesn't even have to say anything. Now here's where it gets even worse. This person who's all wound up and anxious starts hallucinating, imagining, perceiving, or said more truthfully, feeling. I feel it in here so much. It's got to be true that this person is being dishonest, not accountable. I feel this, therefore this person must be wrong. So now this person creates an entire story and web of lies and deceit and beliefs around what they think, what they know is true for them. So now this person starts telling their own set of lies. I don't believe them. I don't trust them. This can't be true. They're not honest. And let's say that you as a partner are in fact being as honest and sincere and authentic as you can be, but your partner doesn't believe you or she doubts it. Now skepticism, now doubt builds. Now the way she's talking about you and thinking about you and looking at you becomes very, very, very different, until sometimes it feels like every one of this person's actions is under scrutiny. And I understand that many of you may be watching this and thinking, oh my God, my relationship isn't like this, or thank God it's not like this for me. But there are elements of this in many people's relationships. There are elements of this when you're just quickly knee-jerk responding to someone and you're doubting or you're skeptical or something doesn't feel right. And here's where it gets even worse. Let's talk about intuition. It's considered sort of a thing that we all have come to terms with, that if we listen to our intuition, it'll never steer us wrong. A lot of people also believe that female intuition is unmistakable, that women have a sixth sense for understanding and feeling into things. And I know that there are millions and millions and millions and probably billions of times where that's been true. But I also know that it largely depends on how a woman is feeling towards another person. If she generally or genuinely doesn't like them, just has an off feeling, isn't a trustworthy person to begin with, or was raised with a lot of trauma, toxicity, doubt, where she had to prove herself, or she was treated poorly as a person, the lens through which she sees life and perceives life and feels life is going to be tilted. And we're all subject to this. It's going to be such that their view of life has a negative slant to it. People are out to get me. You can't trust men. Don't believe anything he says. And then when we have social proof, such as a collection of girlfriends who support you, oh my God, I can't believe he said that to you. He's so awful. You don't deserve that. You can do better. So now the peanut gallery is in your ear. Wow, maybe I'm really with a terrible guy. This is all very hard and complex because sometimes you think that you're in something and you just need to stick through it, and you really actually should listen to your friends and be out of the relationship. And it takes you a long time to get to that point. Sometimes when we're so in it, we can't see outside of ourselves, and we need that outside perspective of a coach, therapist, whoever, or a best friend or a close set of friends to give you that reflection and say, you got to get out of this. I can remember someone who had a trait like that: doubt, skepticism, need to be right, has to be perfect, doesn't believe you, doesn't trust. So something simple like, hey, where are you? I'm at work. Received, I don't believe you. Well, I'm staring at my sofa and I'm looking out the window of my office. I don't trust you. I don't believe you. Do you want a screenshot? Do you want a video? Do you want me to hold up two fingers and say, here I am in my office? And I would jump through hoops because I thought I was helping her feel safe. I thought I was calming her nervous system down. But then as I noticed that no amount of words, no amount of consoling, no amount of proving myself could change the way that that person felt towards me, that's when I started to realize that it was all in vain. So then it became, where are you? I'm just on a walk. I don't believe you. I don't have anything to prove to you. Well, you must not care about me. You must not love me. No, I just have nothing to prove to you anymore. I've explained this. I've gone down this route. But so now I don't engage. Now I don't try to defend myself. Then the attacks may come. And that poking and prodding to kind of see where, how can I hurt this person? Or how can I make them feel less than? Or I'm hurting so much, so what can I say to him to manipulate, to hurt, to lash out? What can I point out in that person's life? Well, you don't do this and you don't do that, and I don't like this about you. What can I withhold? It's a very, very dark conversation today, I understand. All of these things lend themselves to a very poor quality relationship. It doesn't have to be a deal breaker, but I think if you can bring to consciousness and you can bring to light this knowledge that I'm thinking poorly about them, I speak poorly about him to my friends, I doubt, I don't frame him in a light. It's boxing someone in and they just can't win. Your partner can't win if you're always disappointed. You think you know their every move, you know what they're going to say, you know how they're going to react, you know how they're going to behave. Then they never get a chance to thrive. And you know what else that does? It minimizes them in all other areas of their life as well. How can someone be treated poorly by the person that they love and then successfully thrive outside in business, in friendships, in community, without feeling the weight of that on their head? What do you think? Are you in a relationship like this? Do you contribute to bad behavior? Do you have the vulnerability to say, hey, I'm sometimes like this, I can relate? Or what most people will probably say is, yes, I have a partner like this, and it drives me crazy. In any case, I hope you got a lot out of this. I hope that it helps you grow in some way. And if you want to talk more, I invite you to visit closeness.com, schedule a consultation, or enjoy the rest of the podcast, which generally deals more with sex, intimacy, closeness, and relationships. Have a great day.